Hey, sweethearts. Want to know how to make this cute headband? Well, stay tuned. Okay, guys, let's get started. First, we're going to lay out our faux fur, and we're going to measure. I didn't have a measuring tape, so I am using a string to measure my length, which is 42 inches. And I use my level to measure my width, I went with 22 inches. You can go with anywhere between 19 and 22 inches for the average size head. Paige wears a lot of braids, and this headband is for her, so I went with 22 inches in width, 42 inches in length. So I'm just cutting along the string here. It would be best if you work with the little, you mark your fur with some chalk if you are not used to cutting fur. Just mark along with chalk. I'm using a string because I'm used to cutting fur and I can pretty much cut straight. So that's what I'm doing here. Just cutting the fur out. Actually, just cutting a rectangle out that I'm going to be using for this headband, and I'm going to roll the rest of the fur out, up and get it out of the way. If you want to cut the fur outside, because this, fur really flies, it gets everywhere. It might be best for you to cut the fur out outside. And now I'm just gathering the fur. I want it to meet evenly in the middle. And I'm just putting the ends together, and I'm getting ready to start sewing it. I just actually wrapped it around my head to make sure that it would fit around my head. So I'm going to gather the ends and just start to sew. You can use hot glue if you like, especially if you're using elastic. But I'm not using elastic for this headband, so I'm going to sew it. And I usually sew my projects. I don't use a lot of hot glue because I like for things to last. Especially with this going on your head, you don't want it to pop. And I'm not using elastic like I said, so I don't want it to pop. So I'm just sewing it. And I'm just going back and forth. I'm doing a basket stitch. So I'm taking the needle through the material, wrapping the thread around the needle, and then pulling through, creating a basket stitch. And I'm just keeping that fur even, making sure that I keep it even so that the width will be the same all the way around the headband. Now, guys, you don't have to measure your headband this wide. I am doing this because I'm folding this headband in half again to create volume in the headband. Um, I don't want it to be too flat, and I don't want to put anything inside of it to stuff the headband. I'm just using the fur to fluff itself. So this is the first stitch. I'm going to sew this all the way up, and then I'm going to fold this in half and sew it again. You guys will see. Just keep watching. See, just a basket stitch. And like I said, guys, if you want to cut down on the hair everywhere, the fur everywhere, you might want to take it outside and cut it. Trying to brush some of that fur off of me, but that's not really possible. I'm so ready to get into the shower at this point. The hair is starting to irritate me. The fur is starting to irritate me. So as you can see, I gathered the other fur and got it out of the way. So now I'm done sewing, and I'm turning the headband on the right side because as you can see, I sewed it inside out. So now I'm turning it back on the right side, just brushing the fur over the stitch so that it will hide where it was sewn, the stitch where it was sewn. Now I'm putting the headband together. I'm going to brush the ends back just to kind of try to get the fur back off of the material so that I can have a nice, be able to sew it nice and even. Just putting the anchor stitch in right there. As I said, I was brushing the fur backward. And there we are. I'm just going to start sewing. And there I decided to turn it on the other side so that the seams would be on the same side. Remember to try to keep your stitching as even as possible. Sorry, I'm a little out of frame here, guys. I'm completely covered in fur at this point. I'm just trying to show you guys. I'm pulling taut because I don't really want you to see a line of demarcation. I want to be able to just fluff the fur out and you don't see the seam. Even though that part is going to go again. Remember, I'm going to fold this in half again so you won't see that at all. Look at how cute that is already, though. If you wanted to stop there, you would. You could. If you wanted to get, you wanted your headband to cover more area, your ears, up to maybe the crown of your head. You want it to look more like a hat, or you just want it to be much wider, you could leave it here. Page one of hers is a little more narrow. So at this point, I'm just fluffing it out, showing you guys, and now I'm going to fold it in half again. But just showing you here that you can just wear it just like that. It's really cute. Now, as you can see, I folded it again. I put the two ends together, and I'm just sewing it nice and even again. My hand is in between each side just to make sure I gather it at the same point to keep that thread nice and even all the way around. And this way you don't have to stuff it, you're just using the fur to fluff itself. That's my sister's finger. She was admiring it, asking if I could make her one. And there you are. That's the finished product. Now I'm just going to brush it and try to, well, not try to, there's no problem. Just cover up the thread. I'm going to cut off just an excess piece there. And then brush, brush, brush in all different directions to cover up that thread as much as possible. I'm going to take my needle and just start to pull the thread from under the fur, from under the thread. I'm sorry. Taking my needle to pull the fur from underneath the thread at this point. And I'm done here. Cute, quick, simple, and actually for me it was free because I already had the fur. I bought this fur for Boots, so I made this headband for Paige, but I'm going to have to make myself one because I have some boots that I covered in this fur. So I'm going to have to make myself a headband as well. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already.